What is up, my friends? Toby Wayne from Toby Wayne Studios. So here is the cured Batman head that I had been working on. I did this out of Super Sculpey Firm, and I've really been enjoying working with Super Sculpey again. It's been, like I said, a long time, but the past several videos I've been working on sculptures with the Super Sculpey, and it's been awesome. I've been having a really good time. Not giving up on the other clays, of course. This is just one of those times when I'm just kind of cranking out a couple one-off pieces, and I figured I would just show the processes along the way. So in this video, I'm going to be cleaning this piece up, and I just wanted to show kind of how I did this. Because this is Super Sculpey, it's sandable, it's carvable, you can re-add to it, or I should say add to it and then bake it or hit it with the heat gun, and that'll cure things up here. So a couple of the tools I'm going to be using today to kind of do this quick little video here. Let's see, what do I got here? So I'm going to be having my sandpapers, of course, different grades or coarsenesses. Is that even a word? Anyway, I've got like 220, 800. I've got other kinds, but I'm thinking I'm just gonna use these simple ones here. And then I've got some carving tools. I've got some old dental tools and stuff that I've collected over the years. These are nice because they have nice sharp edges to them that I can come in and modify the sculpture with. And I may or may not end up adding to this and re-curing that clay. I'm not sure yet. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But anyway, so my first order of business is just to kind of look this thing over. Again, this has just come out of the oven maybe 20 minutes ago, so it's nice and cool. It's nice and cured, so that's nice. There's no cracking, which is great. So yeah, so I'm just going to kind of come in here with my clay, and what's interesting is that I can run my fingers along here and I can feel the uneven spots, which, you know, it is what it is, and you can see there's certain raised areas and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to kind of try to knock down some of those uncured or uneven, excuse me, parts here to this sculpt. That way it'll kind of just make things look a little better. When you get to sculpting and stuff, you kind of, it's easy to overlook certain things. So uneven or unlevel places are kind of the norm. That's going to happen. But just going to kind of try to go over this real quick. Like I said, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time finessing these because these are kind of quick sculpts, and the more time I spend on them, the higher the price goes for my time invested. So I want to try to make things affordable for everybody and to get people original sculptures at a decent price. So I'm just going to kind of try to knock down some of these uneven spots here. I try to eliminate as much of this as possible in the smoothing processes with the lighter fluid and the brushes, but sometimes it just doesn't quite capture everything. And I found also that as I'm working with this clay, again, as I did the first time around, there is a forgiveness factor where you want to just go ahead and get it baked, and then you can come back and retouch these things up when it's solid. Sometimes it's easier that way, but just depends on what you're doing. Teeth, that's one thing that I definitely will just kind of block in, and then I'll come back over it with the carver at the end. That's a pretty deep recessed area right there. I've gone over this 3 or 4 times now, and same with this little spot here. And then of course I'm gonna go up to my 800 grade here and just kind of make sure that there's no heavy sanding grooves or lines. And back in the day, I also had used a t-shirt. I would bake this, get the piece cured, and then I would go back over it with like a t-shirt and just kind of buff it. And it's amazing just how much a t-shirt, a cloth, will take down any little areas that are going to be causing you some problems. It's pretty amazing. I was impressed with how just a t-shirt with the fibers would clean things up. So there, I'm just kind of knocking things down, kind of uniform, tying everything together. I can kind of just run my sculpt or my sandpaper over everything to just kind of try to blend it all together. And this area here, I'll probably grind. Well, there's no probablys. I'll go up and grind all this off with my grinder. Wasted clay a little bit, but that's okay. There's the finish line there, so not a big deal. You have to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, as they say. So what I wanted to do is I really wanted to go back and finesse the nose. Because it is, I do want to try to achieve a sharp nose or a sharper nose. I just got this cured, and then I can come back with my carver once it's a little easier to manhandle the baked super sculpey over the regular uncured sculpey. Little things like this will, in the uncured stages, will just smear and push around, so it's better to, this is kind of goes along the same lines as the teeth. I always try to get the delicate stuff baked, and then the same with the ears, but to get them baked, and then I can come back in and really fine tune with my carving tools. And one of the things too is it's nice to have is a nice little brush that you can kind of just push away any of the reminiscences, and that's why I have foil down too, so that I can kind of pick up on any of the excess shavings that's going to happen here. Try to get this nose as symmetric as possible. There you can kind of see the line there. And kind of hit the front of the cowl here a little bit. So then I take my cleoid discoid. This is probably by far one of my favorite sculpting tools to use. And it has a fun sounding name, of course. But yeah, the cleoid discoid. Sorry, I spilt a little bit of my rubbing alcohol here, so I'm just going to clean that up. So anyway, this is the cleoid discoid. It has the camera's not really going to pick this up, but it's got kind of a tear-shaped drop end on this end, and then a circular end here. And this is a great little tool to get into all the little cracks and crevices here. You can come up inside of the brow and just really cherry out and finesse those finish lines, which are going to really make or break your sculpt. It's kind of nice to have those nice defined ridges and stuff. And the tear-shaped end of this works fantastic for that. I noticed that the brow here is a touch rough, so what I may end up doing is coming back with my sandpaper here and just trying to clean this up a little bit. I just want to get a little bit of a uniformity here with this brow. And also up underneath the nose, I want to make sure I get a nice sharp edge to this nose. So I'm going to take my sandpaper and just start filing this down a little bit. Got a decent little profile going. And I want to try to clean up this mouth a little bit. This might be a better job for this deeper, sharper tool. Giving a nice scowl, nice little frown. Okay. And technically Batman's nose is, I've seen it exposed under here, and I've sculpted it with no nostrils, but that's just our little secret. If you don't say nothing, I won't say nothing. But anyway, so I'm just coming back in and I'm softening up the cheeks with the tools here a little bit to kind of give it a little bit more uniformity. There's a couple of uneven spots in there, but that's all right. We can take those down with our carver. Now what I'm going to do, oh yeah, there's a little spot right there I'm not happy with. Okay. While I'm at it, back here, there's my name. I've placed oh so gently into the clay, and now it's time to clean that up a little bit. I go back in and deepen that in. Okay. Should probably get myself a stamp one of these days where I can just press that stamp into the clay and I'm not having to write it in every time. Of course, maybe people like that. I don't know. Okay. I'll go ahead and clean out the shavings off of that. And I'm going to go back and just kind of hit this area back here a little bit. to kind of try to get a little bit more uniformity back there. That's the problem with 800 grit sandpaper, is it's so fine that it fills up the little sand pieces really quick, and it makes it pretty much useless within just a matter of a couple of swipes across the piece. I always have to be changing that out, but I think that's going to be good enough. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to come back in and clean up under this cowl piece here a little bit. See if there's a couple little areas that are not as uniform as I'd like to see them. And with when you have the sculpture in its cured form, you got to be careful when you go back over it with the tools that you're using to clean up the sculpture with, because if you're not paying attention, or if you're off a little bit, you can actually carve your sculpture and make a gouge in it that you did not want. This stuff does have a tendency, if the tools are super sharp, to really gouge. So always be careful, because you don't want to gouge up your sculpture and or your hands. That sucks. I've done both. So now I'm going around the cowl here a little bit, and I'm going to just kind of deepen that mark here around his cowl to give it some depth. Make it look like his mask is nice and separate from his face. And I'll just very carefully come back through and scribe this a little deeper. Each little pass is going to make things go a little deeper and deeper in the sculpture. So, and I'm going to come up underneath here. Okay, and I think that's going to be it. I think this is all that I'm going to do to this to clean it up. Like I said, I got most of it in the sculpting stage, so that helps me out in the long run. But yeah, then the cleaning up processes help, definitely. So, and you know what, actually, I think I'm going to just ever so carefully, there's a little tiny spot, and it may not even pick up, but there's a spot right there that's off a little bit. It's uneven, so I'm just gonna, you can kind of run your carver across it, and that knocks down all those spots there, the high spots and the areas that perhaps didn't get cleaned or modified up in the sculpting stage with the lighter fluid. Okay, so I think that's it, my friends. I think this is all that I'm going to do to this piece. Yeah, I think I'm going to just go ahead and leave it at that, as I go ahead and still keep standing. That's the problem with being an artiste, is it's always hard to let it go, you know? I always have a hard time. If I see a little imperfection, it just drives me crazy. I think if any of you have followed me long enough on this channel to know that that's one thing that just drives me nuts is imperfections. Like this little guy right here. This thing is nice and deep. It's almost to the point where I should add maybe a little bit of clay there and just cure it, you know, but and then go back over it. But I think if I just be a little more persistent, then I can go ahead and knock that down by doing the circular motions here. And I'll go back over it with my very much used up 800 grit sandpaper. Yeah, that took it down. That's good enough. Okay. And I promise now I'm calling it quits on this piece for now. Next up is painting, of course. So, yep, so that's it, my friends. Pretty quick, simple cleanup here. Everything looks real good. Got my name scribed in a little deeper there. Got that pesky little area taken out there. Once the paints are on this thing, you're not really going to notice it, but I will. So, you know, that is what it is, I suppose. I got to learn to kind of let it go. But I guess that's what defines me as an artist. So anyway, with that being said, I thank you guys so much for checking this video out. You can head on over to Instagram and check out Toby Wayne Studios over there as well. I really appreciate it. And I will be doing another video on the painting processes of good old Batman here. So I may do that today or tomorrow. I'm just really not sure yet what time we're going to be doing that, but I will definitely be posting it, so keep your eyes peeled for that. So thank you guys so much for checking this video out, and as usual, and as always, I will catch you in the very next video.